Mavericks land the number 4 overall pick in the NBA draft. Who should they take to pair with Cooper Flagg? On today's One More Thing. You are locked on the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your hosts, Isaac Harris. Cover the Mavs for the last 10 years alongside my good friend, Nick Angstead. And guys, thanks for making the Locked On Sports Podcasting Network the number 1 sports podcasting network out there. Today, I'm talking about the 4th overall pick. I got this question in our text line, our subtext insider program did a Q&A tonight that I'm still getting to all the answers to because there's so many questions, so many good questions, but somebody did in all caps. I'm like, quit yelling at me through text right now of who would you take number 4 overall in the draft if they land at 4? And I'm like, chill out. Do your lower your caps there. All right. But let's talk about it. So I was like, all right, I'll do one more thing on it. I can do 15 minutes on who I would take at 4 if I was Dallas. So as you guys know, the lottery odds are flattened. God, you probably know everything about the lottery and tanking now because that's anything and everything everybody has to talk about right now. I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing all the tanking solutions. I'm tanking out right now of all the solutions. But I'm still putting on the hard helmet hat that I have because we got to tank this thing out, baby, for the Mavs. So who should they pick at 4? Because if you land in the top 4, we know the top 4, like Dallas, if they're setting at 9, they can't move up to 5, right? If they move up, they can only land into the top 4 because that's how the things are now. So for Dallas, it's all right, if you land in the top 3, you kind of know those 3 players, right? It's some combination. You can argue that thing out of Boozer, Dybantsa, Peterson. Everybody has their own thing with that, right? I personally have been in the camp of Dybantsa is at number 1 for me. He's still at number 1 for me. The thing he can do at his size, and his passion to play basketball gives him the slight edge. But honestly, I can hear a case for Peterson and Boozer too. I think they're great players too. If they land any of those guys, that's awesome. But what if they land at 4? Because I think a lot of people, or even the people who know way more about the draft than I do, feels like there's at least some type of little drop off, right? It's those top 3 guys, and then a lot of people have Caleb Wilson from North Carolina there, and then you have some combination of the guards after that. A lot of people have Kingston Flemings from Houston at 5. So I think it does come down to, for a lot of teams, will come down to those 2 guys. It's Caleb Wilson versus Kingston Flemings. And if Dallas lands at 4, I think Caleb Wilson will be right there in the mix. Kingston Flemings. I think Mikel Brown, personally, I've always been a big Mikel Brown guy. And I think Mikel Brown will challenge Flemings for that 4 spot before it's all said and done. I don't think it'll be the craziest things if we're in May and some people have Mikel Brown or Wagler challenging Flemings there at 4. But this guard class is insane there in the top 10. They're all really good players. But I think it does come down to, I do think Flemings right now is the best guard prospect out of all of those guys outside of Peterson. He's the best lead guard prospect in there in the top 10. So it's this Caleb Wilson versus Kingston Flemings. And I've watched a lot of Caleb Wilson play basketball this year, a lot of North Carolina games. I like their big man too, Henry Vassar there down low, and Trimble's been playing well as of late. And that Duke game, Duke Carolina, was a lot of fun. Still one of the best, if not the best, rivalry in college sports. I'll say that. I think even considering college football too, I think it's one of the best rivalries in college sports. But Caleb Wilson, if you don't know much about him, he's 6'8", man. He is a crazy athlete on the wing. He's 19 years old. You look at his athleticism, the defensive versatility that he can bring on the defensive side of the ball. He's super long, has the long arms, the long frame. You see him get out in transition and you're like, he just pops off the screen because his motor is insane. He has such a high motor. He cares so much, is always trying super hard. the transition highlights and stuff. I mean, good luck stopping this guy in transition. The long strides with the long legs and just yamming on people. I think he has some passing and vision that some people, I think, underrate when it comes to him. I think a lot of people think about Cam Boozer and are like, man, very cerebral player and is a really good passer and sees everything. I think Caleb Wilson is a really good passer too. The evolution of some of his shot stuff throughout the year. I mean, some of these turnaround shots that Caleb Wilson's pulling off is really, really dang impressive. And I get it. I get there's some questions about the form of his shot and is he going to be a knockdown 3-point shooter? I'm a little bit more hopeful with his shooting than what some people are. One of the things I like about Caleb Wilson is they have consistently had big games on their schedule. North Carolina has, and he has showed up and showed out for every single one of those games. Like the dude had really good games. There's no duds against some of these big teams where, something happens. That was a Dybantsa criticism early on. Even watching Mikel Brown against Duke a few weeks ago, or like, man, this was a tough Mikel Brown game. But Caleb Wilson has showed up for all of those big matchups. He's performed. He's dealing with a hand injury right now, right? Like we don't know when he's going to play college basketball again this year because he broke his, I think it was his left hand, a bone in his left hand. I'm not worried about any of that. I mean, apparently in 6 weeks you can be healed from a hand injury. For Caleb Wilson, he plays above the rim. He has, a super high motor. Like I said, he is this, just this tantalizing wing prospect that in a lot of drafts, honestly, if he went back to school and came back, he'd be the number 1 pick in next year's draft. I think he should be considered a little bit more, in that towards the top 3, with those guys more than like a drop off. But that's just me. And, but I get some of the shooting concerns too, even though I think he's progressed at that, throughout the season. Then you flip the page to the other guy on this list, and that's Kingston Flemings. Kingston Flemings, man, this dude's one of the fastest dudes in college basketball I've ever seen. When you look at, it feels like when he drives, he is on his like tiptoes and at the top of his feet driving to the basket, and he will drive past your favorite perimeter point of attack defender that you have in college basketball. He can get past them. So he's 6'4", he's 19, just like Caleb Wilson. The thing with Flemings too is, so he's got the size of 6'4", a little skinnier, but not like, like Wagler's like, I think super, super thin frame, but Flemings, he's got the athleticism. He plays really good defense too. It's both sides of the ball. I think for me, that's what separates him a little bit from some of these other guys. Like an Acuff or Mikel Brown or Wagler. I think he's the better defender out of those 3, out of those 4. But I could hear like people who know draft more than I do and has watched thousands of hours of tape on that. Please tell me wrong. Tell me I'm wrong when it comes to Flemings and defense. But that's just like how I feel in the handful of games that I've watched of each of these guys. When you look at Flemings too, he rose super fast in the rankings. Like when you go back to some of these like pre-rankings before this season, good luck finding Flemings because it was more about the other guys at Houston, right? Even the other guards on the roster. And then Flemings just shot up the draft boards and the mock drafts into, hey, I am the best, guard. I'm the best player on this Houston team. And I'll be fascinated to see what Houston does in the tournament. This tournament's going to be so much fun. Almost all these prospects should be in the tournament. It's going to be a blast. But Flemings is that 6'4" explosive guard that has the playmaking. He's shooting the ball really well from outside. He can play both sides of the ball. So which one would I take if I was Dallas? Coming up right after the break. I hate doing the tease like that, but I'm sorry I have to. This podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing. The one position you have is still sitting open with the pressures on. You need the right hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. It helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend Less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing the candidate who check all the boxes, less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about the Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by TurboTax because it's tax season. Guys, tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. TurboTax full service can have you doing your taxes. They can do your taxes for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours figure out forms, you can meet with the local TurboTax expert in person or online. For a limited time, you have your taxes done for you by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And finally, this show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel, guys, you look at odds right now. If you're a Cam Boozer fan going at number one, then FanDuel has the best odds for that at like plus 800. If you ever want to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with the NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use the profit boost on any NBA future and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on NBA future and get your entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Shut it down! Oh, let's go home!
Wow, what an ad break, baby. All right, dads do the ads. Shout out. All right, I'm talking about the fourth pick. Who would I take, Caleb Wilson or Kingston Flemings? Here's the question that comes down to for Dallas, and this is the age-old question of what you do in the draft. Do you take best player available or do you take for need? I think a lot of you probably be yelling at me right now and say, hey, you just take best player available. You don't take for need. Because you see a lot of teams and people get in trouble for that, right? You take for need, and then all of a sudden you're the Sacramento Kings and you're passing up Luka Doncic because you have De'Aaron Fox. And you're like, you know what? Bagley would fit better next to Fox because we don't want to impede on Fox. We're going to pass on Luka. And it's like, all righty, you do that. So what should Dallas do? They should take Caleb Wilson and be done with it. That's just how I feel. I think Caleb Wilson is that type of prospect. I like Kingston Flemings a lot. If they could get Kingston Flemings, I think it would be amazing. I think it'd be a great fit with Cooper Flagg. But if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to take the wing and the size and the wing combination potential of Caleb Wilson next to Cooper Flagg. I couldn't resist it. Like, I couldn't sit there in a draft room and resist passing on locking up Cooper Flagg and Caleb Wilson for the next decade plus. Like, the positional size, the defense, the perimeter defense of having a 6'8" Caleb Wilson with a 6'9" Cooper Flagg, and to have these two guys locked in as your 3 and your 4, whatever combination you want to put, or even a small, if you want to go ultimate small ball for certain lineups, and you have Wilson and Flagg on the floor as your 4 and your 5, somewhere through there. Or even if you move them down, you put Cooper at 2 and Wilson at, like, you can move those guys all over the lineup with versatile players and have this elite athletic. I mean, talk about the highlights too, like talk about fun for your fan base, but it's not just about the fun. It is what you need in this league. And I know anytime you talk about wing combinations, everybody goes straight to, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They would be a little bit bigger than that, right? Like, I mean, having both of these guys at 6'8", 6'9", the defensive versatility for both of those guys, playing above the rim for both of those guys, the high motor for both of those guys. I just couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist it if I was Dallas. If I was looking at the two and I'd look at the team behind me and be like, man, they're about to get Caleb Wilson. whenever we like, let's just do this and be done with it. We have Kyrie right now. We'll figure out our guard spot moving forward, but we just can't pass on. We can't pass on pairing these two guys on the wing for the next years to come. So that's what I would do. I'd take Caleb Wilson and be done with it. So yeah, that would be kind of my, and honestly, I'll go a step further. I'm trying to entertain a take right now that, are we late enough in the pot? We're just 16 minutes in. I'm trying to entertain a take of like whether I would, if I was Dallas and I was at 3 and Peterson and Dybantsa was off the table, would I take Wilson over Boozer? That's what I'm like thinking about and workshopping right now, just for Dallas. I'm not talking about like an overall big board for everybody, but I'm talking about just for Dallas, who would fit better. So that's why I would take Wilson over Flemings at 4 if I was Dallas. So there you go. The person who yelled at us in our text line was like all caps, who would you take it for? There you go. It would be Caleb Wilson if I was a Dallas Mavericks. We'll be back later today with another episode, and I think we're going to have a guest on later on so we can chop it up about the Mavs moving forward. Peace out. Boom.